Hello students, I am Ajay Kumar Srivastav, Senior Faculty in Botany at Sri Chaitanya. In the previous lecture, we discussed about the properties of a genetic material, and we said a genetic material should have following properties. First, self-replicating. Second, chemically and structurally stable. Third, but it should have facility for occasional changes, that is mutation, because without that evolution will not take place. And fourth, it should be able to express itself in the form of Mendelian character. And when we compared RNA and DNA, we found that both RNA and DNA can function as genetic material because both are self-replicating, both can undergo mutation, and both can express themselves in the form of Mendelian factors. But there was one point, stability. On this point, DNA was found to be much more stable as compared to RNA. That is, the preferred genetic material is DNA. So, for storage of genetic information, DNA, and for transmission of genetic information, RNA. Now, today we are starting with RNA world. See, if both RNA and DNA can function as genetic material, then which of the two molecules came earlier during the course of evolution? Okay. So, let us compare this, and this comparison says that RNA was the first to come. Okay. RNA was the first genetic material. Now, there should be some reason for saying this. Now, let us see the reason. Why? See, because essential life processes like translation, you see, translation can never take place without RNA. Yesterday also we said DNA cannot express itself without the help of RNA, but RNA can express itself without the help of DNA. So, processes like translation, splicing that we will see earlier, this is a feature of eukaryotes where hnRNA, its certain portions are removed called as the introns, and the other portions that have to undergo translation, exons, they are joined. This is splicing. This also takes place with the help of certain RNA. Okay. And metabolic processes, they all have evolved around RNA. It means the first molecule to come was RNA. So, RNA was the first genetic material. Then why RNA has to be replaced by DNA? Okay. Let us see the reasons for this, why RNA has to be replaced by DNA. Okay. Because RNA along with genetic material, it was also used as a catalyst. Now, how can we say that RNA was also used as a catalyst? Because we have discovered many cases where a biochemical reaction is being catalyzed by RNA rather than protein, and such RNA are called as ribozyme. For example, peptidyl transferase enzyme during protein synthesis. Okay. For example, telomerase enzyme that forms the telomeres of the chromosome. So, in all these cases, RNA is the catalyst. Now, if RNA is catalyst, then it will be highly reactive. Okay. Because RNA being catalyst will be reactive, and if it is reactive, then it is less stable, okay, and unstable. But we have said that the genetic material should be a stable chemical. So, due to this property, DNA has evolved from RNA to make the genetic material more stable and less prone to changes. So, first genetic material was RNA, but RNA due to its catalytic property was more reactive. Then from RNA, DNA evolved, which was less reactive and more stable. Now, so therefore, DNA has evolved from RNA with chemical modifications that make it more stable. Now, remember what are these chemical modifications? First chemical modification is change of the pentose sugar. In RNA, there was ribose sugar that had OH at C2, which made it highly reactive, hence less stable. But in the DNA, the pentose sugar is deoxyribose sugar. Okay. As a reason, it is less reactive and more stable. So, first change was this. Second change was that in the pyrimidines, uracil was replaced by thymine. This provided additional stability to DNA. So, these were the major chemical modifications, but there were structural modifications also, because RNA was single stranded. So, any damage in RNA could not be repaired, but DNA is double stranded and the two strands of DNA are complementary to each other. So, if any damage takes place in a portion of one strand, then it can be repaired, because the other strand will guide the enzyme to incorporate the nucleotides. So, due to double stranded nature, any damage can be repaired. So, due to all these features, DNA evolved from RNA, but the first genetic material was RNA. Okay. Now, it is concluded that the present day genetic material is DNA, and the first property of the genetic material, we said that it should be self-replicating, it should be able to make its own copies. So, we are starting with DNA replication. So, DNA replication is the process by which a DNA molecule makes its own copies. Okay. Next point is, it is essential for even and precise distribution of genetic material from one cell to other and from one generation to other generation. So, in this process, a DNA makes its own copies. Okay. Now, let us see what is the mode of replication of DNA. Now, mode of DNA replication. How does DNA replicate? So, it has been proved that DNA replicates in semi-conservative mode. Semi means half conserved. Why we are saying that? Because in both the daughter DNA molecules that are produced, one old or parental strand is present, means one old strand is conserved and one new strand is present. Half conserved, that is called semi-conservative mode. I am repeating, in both the daughter DNA molecules from a parental DNA, in both of them, one old strand and one new strand is present. You can see here by this diagram, this DNA is undergoing replication. Now, during replication, you see this new strand, blue color is representing the new strand. Okay. So, you see, when the two daughter DNA molecules are produced, both have one new strand, that is the blue one, and one old parental strand. This is called as semi-conservative mode of DNA replication. Now, students, you know that the structure of DNA was proposed by Watson and Crick, and Watson and Crick, they said that whatever model of DNA we are proposing, it should be able to explain how DNA replicates itself, and by observing the complementary nature of the two strands, they gave their opinion that DNA should replicate in semi-conservative mode, because the old strand will function as template and it will guide the enzyme for the synthesis of new strand. So, it was proposed by Watson and Crick while giving their double helical model of DNA that DNA should replicate in semi-conservative mode, and this came from the complementary nature of the two strands of DNA. But later on it was proved by Michelson and Stahl experimentally. Now, first experimental proof of semi conservative mode of DNA replication. This was provided by two scientists, Messelson and Stahl, in 1958. And this question was asked students 2 years back. Remember that DNA replication is a very, very important topic as far as NEET examination is concerned. Almost every year one question is asked from this particular topic. Okay. So, as I said, Messelson and Stahl in 1958, they provided the first experimental proof that DNA replicates in semi-conservative mode. For this, they used the experimental organism as Escherichia coli bacterium. They use heavy isotope of nitrogen N15. Now, remember students, mostly the isotopes have radioactivity, they are radioisotopes, but this is not a radioisotope. So, its presence in a chemical cannot be seen by autoradiography. Its presence can be seen only by density gradient centrifugation, because being heavy isotope, it has more density. So, it will move farther away in the tube. Okay. So, it can be detected by its more higher density. Now, what was the technique used? Technique is called as cesium chloride density gradient centrifugation, where if DNA of different density are present in a mixture, due to this centrifugation, they will be separated according to their density. Fine. Now, what was done? Escherichia coli cells were grown on a medium of NH4Cl that had N15. So, after many generations, in both strands the nitrogenous bases had N15. So, that DNA became N15 N15, means both the strands or both the chains became heavy chains. Okay. And when we will subject this DNA to density gradient centrifugation, we will find a heavy band in the tube. Okay. Normal, you know that normal nitrogen is N14. So, normal DNA on both strands the nitrogenous bases have N14. So, if we subject this DNA to density gradient centrifugation, we find a light band. So, on density centrifugation, these two DNA can be separated by the band formation. This DNA will form, N15 will form, N15 N15 will form a heavy band, and N14 N14 will form a light band. Okay, clear? Now, you see Escherichia coli completes its DNA replication in 18 minutes, and in next further 2 minutes it completely separates, means complete binary fission 20 minutes, and of these 20 minutes the 18 minutes, first 18 minutes it completes its DNA replication. So, if we take samples after 20 minutes, it means one round of DNA replication has taken place. If we take samples after 40 minutes, it means 2 rounds of DNA replication have taken place. I think this is all clear to you. Now, let us see the diagrammatic representation of Messelson and Stahl's experiment. Okay, now see, as I said that the E. coli was grown on medium having N15 for many generations. So, both the strands became N15 N15, and when this DNA was subjected to centrifugation, a heavy band was obtained. Fine. Now, these E. coli cells were transferred to N14 medium. Okay. So, these E. coli cells having both heavy strands were transferred to N14 medium, and after 20 minutes samples were taken. I said that after 20 minutes one round of replication has been completed, and now from the medium they are getting N14. Okay. When this DNA was centrifuged, after 20 minutes when samples were taken and centrifuged, a hybrid band was formed, means it was not as heavy as N15 N15, but also not as light as N14 N14. It means that its density is somewhere in between the two. That is only possible when it has one N15 strand and one N14 strand. So, this is the parental strand, and this one is the new strand that has been formed, and since culture medium is giving only N14, so this is N14 is the new strand. It means when during DNA replication, both the DNA molecules, you can see both the DNA molecules that have been formed, they have the same density. Okay. And because both have one heavy chain and one light chain. That is why we got a hybrid band. This proves that DNA replicates in semi-conservative mode. Okay. Now, when samples were taken after 40 minutes, okay, after 40 minutes, then you see 4 DNA molecules are formed. These two will have both light strands. Okay, that is why we are getting a light band, and these two, first and fourth one, these two will have hybrid, one old and one new. That is why we are getting one hybrid band. So, after 40 minutes when we take sample, we get two bands, one light band, it is of these two, and one hybrid band, this is of these two. So, this proves that DNA replicates in semi-conservative mode. Now, later on, of course, in the same year 1958, but after Michelson and Stahl, Taylor and his colleagues, they performed their experiments on the fava bean, Vicia faba, okay, and they used radioactive thymidine in their experiment, and they proved that the DNA in the chromosomes also replicate in semi-conservative mode. It means in both prokaryotes and eukaryotes, DNA replicates in semi-conservative mode. Now, this question has also been asked few years back, okay, that what was the experimental organism in which Taylor proved his semi-conservative DNA replication. So, experimental organism was Vicia faba. So, it is proved that either it is prokaryote or it is eukaryote, DNA replicates in semi-conservative mode. Now, let us see the requirements for DNA replication. So, we require enzymes. Many enzymes are required, but the most important enzyme is DNA polymerase. We will study in detail about this enzyme. Template DNA. You know, during DNA replication, the two strands of the parental DNA separate and both guide the synthesis of new strands over them. So, both strands of the parental DNA function as template for the formation of the complementary strand over them. Okay. Third is the substrate. What will be polymerized to synthesize the DNA? So, the substrates are deoxyribonucleoside triphosphates. So, it will be DATP, DCTP, DTTP and DGTP, deoxyriboadenosine triphosphate and so on. So, these are the substrate, and along with substrate they also serve as energy source, because as you can see they are in the form of triphosphate, but they are attached to the growing chain in the form of monophosphate. So, what is the need of the two terminal phosphate? The two terminal phosphates are removed and they function as energy source for DNA replication, because DNA replication is highly energy consuming process. So, energy comes from the two terminal phosphates of these deoxyribonucleoside triphosphates. So, these are the basic requirements for DNA replication. Now, we will study in detail about DNA polymerase, but before that I want to tell you one thing, that in prokaryotes and eukaryotes the DNA polymerases are different. We will focus here on the prokaryotic DNA polymerases, and we will also focus here on prokaryotic DNA replication. Now, let us see the different types of DNA polymerases of prokaryotes or bacteria. DNA polymerase 1, it polymerizes DNA in 5' end to 3' end direction. See, all of these, they polymerize DNA in 5' end to 3' end direction, means the template will always be 3' end to 5' end, because we have already said that the two strands of DNA are anti-parallel, means they have opposite polarity. So, it has 5' end to 3' end polymerization activity, 3' end to 5' end exonuclease activity, means from the end it can remove nucleotides in 3' end to 5' end direction. Why this is required? This is required for proofreading, because if a wrong nucleotide has been inserted, that can be replaced by the correct one. That is why it has this activity. And it can also remove nucleotides from the 5' end. This is called as 5' end to 3' end exonuclease activity, and this activity is only with DNA polymerase 1, not with polymerase 2 and 3. Okay. But this is not the main polymerization enzyme, it is used in repair process and certain other places. Okay. Second one is DNA polymerase second. It also has 5' end to 3' end polymerization, 3' end to 5' end exonuclease, but it does not have 5 to 3 exonuclease, and this is also not the main polymerization enzyme. This is also used in repair and other purposes, because it polymerizes DNA at a very slow speed. You can see 50 nucleotides per minute. This speed is very slow. Okay. Now, third one is DNA polymerase third. DNA polymerase third, this also has 5' end to 3' end polymerization, 3 to 5' end exonuclease for proofreading, as I said, but this also does not have 5 to 3 exonuclease, and this is the main polymerization enzyme. Why? Because you see the speed. It can polymerize DNA with a speed of 2000 base pairs per second. So, this is the main polymerization that is involved in the polymerization of DNA. Just one more thing, the DNA polymerase was discovered by a scientist called as Kornberg. That is why DNA polymerase is also called as polymerase 1 is also called as Kornberg's enzyme, and by using this enzyme, Kornberg for the first time synthesized DNA in vitro. Now, let us see next question. This was asked in New 2016, as you can see here. During cell growth, DNA synthesis takes place in. Now, remember in previous question it was asked in bacteria. Here it is not specified, but you see the options are all related to cell cycle. It means they are asking about eukaryotes only. So, during cell growth, DNA replication synthesis takes place in, and you know that during DNA replication in eukaryotes, DNA synthesis takes place in S phase of the interphase. Interphase is divided into G1, S and G2, and in the S phase DNA synthesis takes place. That is why the name S stands for synthesis. Okay. In G1 and G2 there is synthesis of RNA and protein, but synthesis of DNA takes place only in the S phase. So, answer is 1. Okay. Next question, this was also asked in NEET 2016. This is from the previous part, that is the properties of genetic material. A molecule that can act as a genetic material must fulfill the traits given below except, means we have to find out that trait that is not required to qualify as a good genetic material. See, first it should be able to express itself in the form of Mendelian character. Yes, it should be able. Second, it should be able to generate its replica. Yes, it should be self-replicating. Third, it should be unstable structurally and chemically. No. Okay. It should be structurally and chemically stable. That is why DNA was preferred over RNA. So, this is our answer, because this is the exception. Now, let us see fourth also. It should provide scope for slow changes that are required for evolution. Yes, it should be chemically and structurally stable, but it should provide scope for rare mutations so that new species can be formed. So, statement 1, 2 and 3, these are the properties required for genetic material, but 1, 2 and 4 are the properties required. 3 is the property which is not required. It means this is the exception. So, option 3 is our answer. So, students, before moving forward, let us discuss some questions that have been asked from this part in the recent past. See, this question was asked in NEET 2018. The experimental proof of semi-conservative replication of DNA was first shown in a, it is asking first shown in a, Options are plant, bacterium, fungus and virus. You remember that we just discussed that the first experiment to prove semi-conservative DNA replication was performed by Messelson and Stahl in the bacterium Escherichia coli. So, our answer will be bacterium. Yes, after that Taylor and his colleagues perform experiment by using radioactive thymidine in a plant Vicia faba to prove that DNA in the chromosomes also replicate in semi-conservative mode. But first experimental proof was by Messelson and Stahl and in the bacterium Escherichia coli. So, our answer is bacterium, NEET 2018 question. Next question, a very basic question. This was asked in NEET 2017. DNA replication in bacteria occurs. There are 4 options. First, during S phase, second, within nucleus, third, prior to fission and fourth, just before transcription. You see, in bacteria there is no proper cell cycle like the S phase, M phase, all these phases. So, this is not the answer because there is no defined S phase in bacterial cell. Second, within nucleus, you know in bacteria there is no defined nucleus. So, this cannot be the answer. Third, prior to fission, yes, we just said that bacteria takes around 18 minutes to complete its DNA replication and in next further 2 minutes it divides. So, total bacterial binary fission 20 minutes and out of this 18 minutes in replication. So, this is our answer. And fourth option, just before transcription. You see, entire DNA undergoes replication, but only specific portion of the DNA undergo transcription and that too all not at the same time. So, this also cannot be our answer. So, the answer is prior to fission. Okay, students, these were the 2 questions that we discussed. We will be discussing more questions as we proceed further in this topic. So, that is all for today's lecture. So, today we saw the basic requirements of DNA replication and how we proved that DNA replicates in semi-conservative mode. Thank you very much.